Hey everyone, and welcome to Screams After Midnight TV edition. I am Peter. That is Tim Marie, and we talk about horror TV on this show. Typically, we've been working our way through Tales from the Crypt, although we're on break for October, as we typically do. But there's a new thing that started. Hulu have started a horror anthology from Blumhouse Productions, where we get one episode a month. It's an anthology show and they're all feature length. I assume they're all going to be feature length. But this first episode's 80 minutes, and the idea is that we get one episode in October, which was the first Friday of every month, I believe, is when they come out. But Tim was away getting married, so we're doing it a bit later in the month. And this is this is set in Halloween, and then I think the idea is that each month's episode will be set on whatever holiday is accompanying that month. So I assume Thanksgiving, then Christmas, and then so on and so forth. But just guesses. I mean, maybe they'll pick some weird holidays that no one would predict. I don't know. It's just a thought. But anyway, so it's called Into the Dark. It's going to be Into the Dark season 1 episode 1. It's called The Body, and it is an 80-minute feature length episode. So it's basically watching a movie, and we're going to talk about this. We'll start spoiler free, I think. And then we'll warn you before we go into spoilers, and we'll go from there. It was interesting about an anthology, although given that we only talk about Tales from the Crypt as a pair versus everything I talk about with Connor, the weird thing about an anthology is that even if the first episode's amazing, the second one might be terrible. If the first episode is terrible, the second one might be good, because they're different creative teams behind each episode for the most part, completely different stories. They're not connected to each other in the same serialized way. Why are you making that face at me, Tim? Am I saying things that are
No,
not making sense?
I just love that you're explaining how anthologies work. That's great.
My point, Tim, is that some, almost cancelled with Connor when we don't like an episode of something, um,
Mhm.
or we don't like a few in a row. It's like, well, there's no point in coming back. But with this, I mean, I'm not getting into what if I liked or disliked this yet, but that's the thing with an anthology is that you have no basis for unless you get like 7 or 8 in a row that are all terrible. In which case, at that point, you can just assume maybe that they're all going to suck. But
Sure. Mhm.
yeah, so this first episode is called The Body, and it is about a hitman who is trying to transport a dead body on Halloween night and runs into some trouble, trying to stay away from the police and encountering some partygoers who become a bit of a nuisance in his evening. And that is the premise of The Body. That is the body of this show. That's not the body of the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which had an episode called The Body in season 5. Very notable episode. Everyone loves it. Got awards. All that sort of thing. Very good. That's not what this is. Tim, did you
Yeah.
enjoy The Body?
Whew. Uh, I absolutely did not. This honestly, I thought this was awful. This was like such. I don't know. It sucked. Like it felt like such like amateur hour bullshit. Like it doesn't feel like an actual movie. And yeah, technically a television show or whatever. But you get the feeling that they're going for that these are supposed to be like movies, like they're features. And it didn't feel like this at all. It felt like a somewhat okay premise for a 5 minute online video, which of course during the credits it said based on a short, but I was like, all right, that explains it. Like, yeah, it's probably should have stayed a short, because yeah, getting a full runtime didn't do this any favors. I just thought it was boring. I didn't like any of the characters, and I thought it was, um, I found it impossible to buy into the premise, because I like the premise. I think it's a good idea, but I don't think they executed as well. Like I kept thinking as I'm watching this, why is anyone talking to this guy? Why is anyone going through with this? Why do such a great costume? Why do they care about this body at all? And if you can't buy into that, which is like the crux of the show or whatever, then it's like what's the point? Why are you watching it?
I can buy you doing this. I don't know. This was easier to swallow for me because I could see you being this asshole who's like, "Oh, this is a great costume, bro. Come to the party with us,
Oh,
bro."
no, like if there was something cool like a goat person or like I don't know like
That's your
like
example of something cool.
I think that's cool. Like I think that's interesting and unique. Literally all this guy's doing is he's just wearing a nice suit and he's carrying around a body and everyone's like, "Whoa, cool costume." And it's like first like I think they even mentioned it later on like, "Well, that's not a costume. He's just a regular guy, but he has a prop." But yeah, like that's not something that would be stop in the street worthy and oh my god, you got to come to my friend's party because we got to impress him for some like which in that in of itself is stupid. It's like you know you don't impress people at parties by like bringing a cool person. Like no one's like, oh man, this guy brought the cool guy. He's like, no, it's so stupid.
I'd ask you how you do impress people at parties, Tim, but I don't think you know the answer.
Well, yeah, I just do.
um, I thought it was okay.
Oh Jesus.
Well, that's not that enthusiastic, Tim. I just didn't hate it like you did. I thought it was. I thought it had its moments of little. It was amusing at times. Um,
No,
I get.
I didn't laugh. I don't think I like laughed at all during this.
See, I think where I thought it was amusing, it wasn't necessarily intended jokes so much, as it was just a general amusement of what was going on. I think
Sure.
what annoyed you so much about it not making sense and why are they buying into this was kind of
Mhm.
why I was just slightly amused by the whole thing because it was so silly.
Yeah.
I thought the actor playing the hitman was so hammy and like over the top with
Oh
these
God.
like I'm British hitman.
Yeah.
I do not believe in the world. Everything is pointless, and I kill you because killing is okay. Like
It,
he was so
I don't know.
hammy that I was just kind of like, this is kind of amusing. He's chewing
It,
the scenery.
it felt kind of like almost 90s to me. I feel like we had a lot of Hitman stuff in the 90s, like a lot of movies about the introspective Hitman or like the cool sleek Hitman or something.
Hmm.
I don't know. It felt like a I don't know, like a dated thing. I was like, who cares about Hitman
Admittedly,
anymore?
at the start of the movie when he first encounters these party goers, I thought the movie was going to be more like he encounters a lot of other obstacles. Not it wasn't going to revolve
That's what I
around these
thought.
people. I thought it was going to be like, okay, he gets through these people, but then there's another obstacle, another set of people, or another thing that gets in his way. And I thought that was going to be like the gauntlet of the night, which would have been cool. I mean, as this is, it, like I kind of liked Dorothy was alright. I thought.
Sure. Yeah,
She,
she
she,
was
she,
all right.
yeah, she had an attitude. Pablo from Ash vs Evil Dead was in here. His character was a bit of a dickhead.
I think the best thing I can say about this is it made me want to rewatch Ash versus Evil Dead. Like as I'm watching it, I was like, oh yeah, this guy's on a much better show that is now the full series is out on Blu-ray. Maybe I can watch that. Listen
Actually,
to some commentaries.
okay, the other character, Alan, right? He's the really dumb guy who's the one who wants to bring out the party in the first place, right? Now, some of the stuff they did with him was kind of unfunny, but I will actually admit I did laugh at one moment with him that I thought was really good.
Okay.
Partly because it was dumb, but it's when he thinks. Because later on they end up with the body when they find out it's real. Because for a while, of course, they all think it's fake, and eventually they think it's real, and they're taking the body to the police, and he thinks for some reason that they're all going to get a lot of money for turning in a body. Like that's what happens when people turn in a murderer. They get piles of money. They become rich, and he seriously believes this. And the other two are just staring at him like he's a complete doofus. It's that thing where it's so stupid that it goes past being annoying and comes round to being funny again for me. I don't know why. Maybe I was just in the right mood when I'd heard this line. I don't know,
Yeah, I
but
I think maybe like some of the stuff like that I could see working with maybe like better director, maybe more charismatic actors. Like I don't
mm,
think any of the actors were bad, but I just thought they were kind of so bland. They didn't really do much for me.
that's
Um,
fair.
I don't know. Maybe in the right hands, this could be something. But I don't know. Another thing that kind of pissed me off is, like you mentioned, it kind of sets it up like you think that the whole movie is just going to be, this guy, like, he has his objective and things keep getting in his way. But and no one ever realizes, that the body is real. But that only lasts for maybe like the first, what, like 20 to 30 minutes or so, maybe.
Something like that. Yeah.
Um, yeah, but then it kind of gets flipped, and then it becomes about a whole other thing, which I think like, then especially then it starts feeling like a lot more generic and all right, and what are we doing here? When like I don't know, I kind of like the idea of you could have thought of more interesting stuff if it's more focused on the hitman and him just trying to get through the night and constantly having to overcome idiots and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I think. Like I say, I think it falls into this middle ground for me where it's just kind of mediocre with hints of amusement. Um, kind of here or there. I will say the opening scene. I can't remember the name of it now, but I'd heard about this before. This wasn't like a new thing to me. The maggot cheese.
I don't even know if I remember that part. What happened?
Remember, he's in the room where he's killed the dead body, and he gets the phone call, and he describes the fancy cheese, the expensive cheese he was eating, and there's maggots on it.
Oh yeah,
And it's cheese that's supposed to have maggots on it. That's like part of the flavor.
right.
And it's vile. And he takes a bite of it, and I actually had to look away when he was eating this. Nothing could disgust me more than the thought of putting maggots in your mouth. That was disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, it's not pleasant for sure.
This is not me complimenting the show for doing something genuinely creepy or something. I'm just saying that the principle of this is disgusting. So him doing that was making me want to throw up. It was awful.
Yeah.
I want no part of it. That's all I'm saying. I want no
You're
part
not
of
gonna
it.
like your Christmas gift this year.
Yeah. If for some reason they had Sasha Grey in a cameo as a DJ at the party, which I didn't even. I mean, I wouldn't have noticed that, but one of them pointed it out, and then I went, "Oh, is it?" And then the next time you see her, I was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, it is. Okay, fair enough."
Yeah, I had to have my wife tell me who that was. I was like, is that a real person? I don't know.
But she knew who it was.
Yes.
That's kind of gold. That's kind of gold. Yeah. I think she's more notable because since coming out of porn, she's done like actual TV and movies.
Yeah, and I guess DJing or.
I don't know if she actually DJs. I don't know that much about Sasha Grey, if I'm honest, and I might just say that to try and make my reputation look better. And you found well she was a porn star. I'm not trying to hide that. I'm just saying what she's up to now outside of the occasional bit of acting. I don't think I've actually seen anything because she was in, I think, the Girlfriend Experience, that movie. And I think
I don't have to see it.
and I think she was in what's that show that people liked on HBO? With all the movie producers.
Bill Maher. What is the real time? With
Entourage. Entourage. That's the show.
Oh, okay.
Tim, what? You're familiar with this show? Yes, you've heard of it.
Oh yeah.
Good. Right.
Yeah.
Just we're on the same wavelength.
Drama and all their adventures.
I've never seen it either, Tim. I'm aware of its existence. All right.
Oh bullshit! I see the poster in the background of your room.
Tim, it's literally a blank wall. You realise people can see the video as well, right? They can also see it.
I imagine most people put it on and then instantly turn away, so as not to succumb to our visage.
Oh. Okay, I thought that was leaning to an insult, but it ended up being quite complimentary. Okay. All right. Anyway, where were we? So yeah, so you have like one of the main plots of the movie is that Maggie, the lead lady, if you will, is kind of into the hitman. Even when she finds out it's real, she's like, I'm kind of turned on by all this stabbing and death. I'm into it.
I hated this like little wrinkle, because like it would have been fine if the hitman was charming, but he was such like an asshole. It was like, why does this woman care about anything that this person has to say at all?
The conclusion to it was weird. We'll get into that in spoilers. The conclusion to it was very weird for me, but because what I will say about this, I don't know if this is a compliment or not, but I will say it felt like an anthology episode of a horror show.
Sure.
It felt like a longer episode, but it felt like it could be a plot of an episode of Tales from the Crypt. It felt like it could be a plot of an episode of whatever, right? And it had those kind of oddities to it where, I mean, it's fairly well produced. It looks like it's people making it or making a proper thing, but there is this kind of TV quality to it, and some of the writing's just a little bit weird with what it's doing. But it's constantly making references to a bunch of, it's Halloween. There's a bunch of costumes that you recognise and all that, and the violence was okay here or there. A couple of good kills. I think you could.
It was okay.
There's a couple of good kills. Come on now.
There wasn't anything I was like that impressed with, and I don't know. I thought the blood looked pretty bad in most parts. Like there's a like throughout most of the beginning, like the hitman has like a little bit of blood on his face or whatever.
Yeah, part of the
And it looked,
costume,
yeah,
as you were.
it looked bad though. It was like some of like the fakest looking blood I've seen in a long time. I was like, Jesus, like could they not afford like real blood or whatever?
Do you know, I wasn't expecting you to like it that much because I don't like it that much, but I wasn't expecting the seething negativity that we're it's
I,
on show right now.
I I don't know, and I was like semi. I wouldn't say I was like specifically excited for this movie, but I was excited yesterday to, because it's October and stuff, and
Yeah, yeah.
you know, and I haven't, gotten to watch as many horror movies as I have, most Octobers because I've been so busy this month. So now it's like, when I've been watching movies, they've kind of been like a treat. So I was kind of excited, like, yeah, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna watch like a horror movie I've never seen before, and it just disappointed me on every turn, and there's just absolutely nothing remarkable or anything that elevates us above like very tired, boring mediocrity. Like there's,
No, no,
I don't know.
I agree with mediocrity, which is why like the negativity here is kind of because there's nothing else in it that I think is specifically anger inducing, right? It's not like The Boy where you're just kind of like, oh god, what is this crap? It's
Well, no,
not
I would have
that.
been. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, they should have, taken the D out of the title and just, let us watch The Boy. That would have been a much better movie than this. I agree with that.
I mean, this is the first time I've recorded since the news broke, Tim, that The Boy's getting a sequel, and I'm not happy.
Hell yeah, dude.
I'm not happy with this at all.
Dude, I gotta find out where they're holding auditions because I need to be involved in this movie.
Oh, do you want to be in The Boy with Katie Holmes? You looking forward to that? Yeah.
I mean, Kenny Holmes is fine. I'm more excited about the, Brahms making his return.
Brahms.
Notable horror icon, Brahms.
Shut up! Shut. No, like
Freddy, Jason, Brahms, Michael Myers, in that order.
Jesus Christ. The the lead actress from Truth or Dare is more iconic than Brahms.
I mean, maybe to you, but I've seen the posters on your wall. That's
Of which one?
you, all the truth or dare, the stuff that you have up there.
Shut up. Shut up. Brad belongs in the pit.
Well, I do love the pit, so
Pit's a much better
I
movie
would
than The Boy. I'm saying it.
equally entertaining, I'd say.
Nah, much more entertaining. I was never bored during The Pit. I was bored to tears during The Boy. Anyway,
Well, I think it says a lot more about you than
shut
the
up.
movie.
So we'll give spoilers there. We'll give a spoiler warning just so we could talk about plot details and whatnot. I'll tell you what death annoyed me though. So, like I said, I kind of like Dorothy. She was the one that was kind of making the most sense throughout most of the movie, and making the other two guys look like idiots. Because obviously the plot of this is that once they find out it's real and they kind of do a runner, the three of them, Dorothy, Alan, and Jack, end up with the body, and they're kind of on the run from the hitman, who is being helped by Maggie, who actually wants to help him because she's kind of turned on by all the death and murder and hitmaniness.
Some godforsaken reason.
Yeah. So she's constantly making the two idiots look like idiots, right? And she's kind of the most sensible one. I was kind of rooting for her. Her snarkiness was easily the most, I'd say, genuinely likable thing in the movie. In terms of where some of the other
Sure.
things I liked because they were kind of bad. Whereas her like being a dick to them or reacting appropriately when they were being idiots was the one that I liked the most. But I'm not mad that she
Okay.
died because if everyone was going to die, everyone was going to die, which everyone does. But her death is really stupid because she gets a gun and she shoots at her hitman, and the hitman, because they're in a morgue by this point, they're in the incinerator, and he holds up a steel tray, and the bullet bounces off the steel tray and hits her square on the forehead.
Now, would that even like work? Like, I was trying to think, like logically, like are those trays that strong?
What was weird to me is that there was a dent in the tray from the bullet, and to me, if there was a dent, it probably
It
wouldn't
wouldn't.
have. Yeah,
Yeah, like the bullet would like flatten and maybe fall or something, but it wouldn't go like in a perfect straight line through her forehead
Yeah,
back to her.
this was
Like
a perfect straight line back the way, is what this
yeah,
did. Uh, this was baffling, but I thought the death before that was okay though. When what's his face, Alan gets the embalming fluid shoved in him.
yeah, that was okay.
That was okay. Yeah, it's
Was
fine.
did I just watch something else though that also? Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. It's weird actually. I watched another horror movie that had like a embalming death thing.
Is this something I'll be watching because we'll be doing it in the near future?
Uh, I don't think we'll be doing it anytime soon.
Okay, all right, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I just want to know if you're seeding spoilers for me or something.
No, 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 no. I don't know if I should say the name on just on the off chance if someone's like, "Hey, I was gonna watch that." It was
Yeah. I mean, if it's something we might do at some point in the future, then yeah, don't say it either. But I'm just wondering, is this something that we're definitely doing soonish? Because
no, no, no.
yeah, okay,
I'll tell
that's
you.
fine.
I'll tell you what. A like quick little side story because again, like just yeah, I've just been trying to watch like a lot of stuff, but I've also been trying to get into shape. So like I've been like working out lately, and when I'm on the I was doing like the elliptical, and I had my phone out, and I have Shutter on my phone, so I was like, oh, I can watch a horror movie like on my phone while I work out, and you don't want to watch like something good because it's on your phone, so it's like
Yeah, just something
shitty
crappy.
quality. But
Yeah, you
yeah,
don't mind that you're ruining by the fact that you're making all this noise as you're, you know.
yeah. So so I was just like, I'll just throw something from Shutter on. So I put on this movie called Can't Take It Back. Uh, and so I was like, all right, I'm sure it's probably not great, but whatever, just something to entertain me. And then, oh boy, I'm watching it, and then the credits come up, and whose name do I see in the credits? But infamous YouTuber Logan Paul, and I was like, oh Jesus Christ.
Did you turn it off there and then? Please tell me you did.
Unfortunately, I just ended up watching it because I was like already like I'm
Oh
working out. I
God.
don't want to whatever. But I mean, it was god awful. I think fortunately, we have enough stuff where we don't have to do that for the show. But it was
Yeah, I'm good.
pretty bad.
I
It
think I'm good.
literally like it was literally like the exact same premise as like unfriended friend request, but they make fun of a dead girl online and she haunts him. I was like, oh, it's not even like original, but well,
I'm sorry. Were you expecting an original film from Logan Paul? Was he
I
starring in it,
not
or
sure.
was he also like producing,
He
directing, writing? What was it doing?
I don't think he was doing much behind the scenes stuff,
Okay.
but yeah, he was like, of the main group of kids, he wasn't the main one, but he was like one of the main characters, like as the, he wasn't the star, but he was one of the bigger side characters or whatever.
I don't think I know which one it was, unless it was obvious because he was the only like dude or something like that. But like, I don't think I'd know which one it was him if there was a.
I only like I don't really know anything about him other than like that like stupid shitty controversy stuff he had like a while ago, but then like I just
Oh
remembered
yeah,
his name when I
I
saw it in the credits.
I never even heard of him till that whole suicide footage.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
you know, became a controversy thing, as it should have. It was a bullshit thing to do. So screw him.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, screw that guy. He's not a friend of a show. Most people are, but we don't have a lot of enemies on the show, but yeah, he could be one. Why not?
I like that because you know every so often Tim does say a friend of the show, and then he'll drop a famous person's name as if we know them personally. So I like that you're keeping track that you're doing that, Tim. That's good.
Yeah.
Uh,
Screw that guy and the massive amounts of money that we will never see in our entire lives.
I don't know, Tim. I don't know. One of these is gonna go viral one day because of something.
Maybe if one of us kills the other on air.
No, I won't even take that. I'll take like a cat doing something funny in the background, and then that'll be it.
All right. Well, that'll be plan A. But if that doesn't work, my plan, we'll try that.
Okay, all right. So okay, I'll murder you then. Right, we've agreed. So
Yeah, that's good.
you can tell that this episode's not that interesting to talk about because we've been very tangenty so far.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Hitman stuff isn't very interesting. I mean, yeah, we went through most of the kills. There's the we didn't really talk about that one kind of friend that gets killed off pretty quick. He gets like stabbed in the head.
Yeah, he throws a knife at him.
Um, I don't I don't know. That's about it. Well, I
Well, it's
guess.
like the cop as well. The cop gets his throat slit.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the yeah. There's the cop, and then there's the I don't want to say showdown, but the scene in the cemetery with the Maggie and the hitman.
Yeah, where she thinks she's finally broken through to him, and they kiss, and he stabs her while they're kissing. And this is why I thought this plot was a bit weird, because it was like, okay, I'm expecting her to not actually be dead. Which, by the way, he's a really shit hitman, because the guy he kills at the start isn't technically dead, because he kind of starts
Yeah.
making noises at one point, and it's actually Pablo from Evil Dead who like stomps on his head to kill him, thinking it's fake. He doesn't know it's real at this point. And then, which, by the way, see if you think it's a fake body that he's made for a costume, fair enough. But see, once it starts making noises, jumping to it's animatronic as well
Yeah,
is like
that's so
absurdly
stupid.
stupid. But where was I going with that? I was going to
But
that point.
he's a bad hitman because
Yes,
he didn't kill that
yes.
person.
And then
And then
he stabs Maggie, and Maggie shows up at the drop off point and kills him, and walks off out of the night. Which was funny because earlier on, the way she was talking to him, like she was like, "This is bad." She was talking to herself in the mirror. She's like, "Oh, this is bad timing," but yeah, I'm tempted. I was thinking there was going to be a twist where she turned out to be someone else. Like she was really someone, like either a killer or the person who hired him or something. Like there was going to be like some sort of twist with her, because horror and
well,
anthology shows like to have twists at the end, I guess.
yeah, that's true. And again, it just like boggles my mind that this woman would in any way be interested in this guy or talk to him for more than 2 seconds. And like I thought it was kind of weird. Like there was like a scene where I think someone like walks by and like says something to her or whatever, and she gets very offended and like like she like makes like some type of comment about like him being like a misogynist asshole or something like along those lines. But I just thought that was really weird that it was like, oh, like you're getting offended by that, but then this guy who's like not like he's like gaslighting you and like saying like shitty things and like not treating you well, but like you're totally into that. Like I don't know, I just thought that was kind of weird.
It is strange. She has like a weird conversation about guns at one point as well, where she's
Oh
got
yeah.
a gun and he asks about it, and she says this, ridiculous, extreme right wing thing, and then kind of laughs that off and says, "Nah, seriously, I go out at night a lot, so I feel safer." And I'm like, okay, so you said, and obviously the gun's important later because she uses it, but so it's Chekhov's gun, but the actual discussion about the gun really was irrelevant, as was some of the other things that get set up. Um, Throughout, I feel like there was like a few attempts in this to be like political and do little social moments. At one point, the cop pulls out his gun and thinks someone's armed, even though there's been no indication that the person's armed, and it's obviously it's a racial thing, but it feels like it brings up all these little things to be political, but without actually doing or saying anything about any of them or ever using it in any
Yeah.
way. So I thought that was a bit weird.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't have like the skill or the nuance to pull something like that off.
Well, it's not even it doesn't pull it. Oh, it doesn't try to do anything with it. It doesn't it doesn't say anything or
Sure.
do anything.
Yeah.
It has these little things where it mentions them and then it just kind of drifts away and forgets about it, and then we go from there. There's an entire subplot when the trio have got the body on the run. They're trying to melt the body Breaking Bad style.
Oh yeah.
Um, and the guy's literally just getting descriptions off of or instructions off of Wikipedia, which I'm fairly certain Wikipedia doesn't have this in-depth instructions for body disposal. I'm calling it
Oh,
out.
yeah, Wikipedia, no. I'm sure there are places online
Oh
where
sure,
you can probably find that stuff out. But yeah, Wikipedia isn't gonna tell you how to do that.
which don't get me wrong, it was kind of a funny joke though when they said where are you getting these instructions from, and he says Wikipedia, and they both look at him like seriously, Wikipedia. You could get
Like
something more useful, and
again, I just really had a lot of trouble like buying into the actions of like anyone in this movie. like, all right, so like first of all, once they find out it's a real body, I was like, why are they carrying it around? Like, just go to the police.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I had that thought immediately as well. And then they try to call the police and realize he's not got his phone, and Maggie starts like sending like photos of dead bodies back from his phone to them, and it's like making it look like they're going to be framed. But they go a long time without even like they never even try to call the police. Like they get the one cop who dies, and then they
yeah,
go on the run, and two of them have phones still, and yet they never they think they're now implicated, so they go down this path of what to dispose the body, so they can't be framed for it, and so on. Don't get me wrong, everything about this episode is far fetched. There is not a single
yeah.
thing in this that's not far fetched. And that made it kind of amusing to me, a lot of it, but some of it was like, why? Why are you doing this? It's bizarre. It's like, oh, we couldn't melt the body. Oh, okay. Plan B. We'll go to an incinerator. We'll break in somewhere
Yeah.
else and get an
Yeah.
incinerator. Which, by the way, they kept teasing that the person he killed was a famous person they all recognized. Because
Yeah.
whenever they lifted off the tape of the head, it's like, oh wait, is that him? Oh, that's a big
Like,
deal.
oh, I can't believe it. I never would have thought. Like, oh, and then I guess the joke is that, oh, you never find out who it was.
Is that a joke?
I'm assuming that's what they were going for. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was expecting much. I was expecting another twist with Maggie. I was expecting that whoever the dead body was to be like a thematic point. Like when we find out eventually who it is, it'll kind of recontextualize the story and maybe the intent of the person who hired him, and build, just hint at a mythology of some kind or something.
Like maybe it would have been like, who's the guy that played Hitman in the Hitman movie? Timothy Oliphant?
Sure. Although at one point it
Sure.
says, "Why couldn't it have been someone small like Elijah Wood?" I feel like
Oh,
Timothy
yeah,
Oliphant's not as big as Elijah Wood.
that's true. But maybe that would have made sense. So like maybe like the hitman is going to kill like famous people that portrayed other hitmen or something. I don't
Yeah. I don't know. It set up a few things, or it teased a few things that it never did anything with, which I think is the biggest problem I have with it. But um,
know.
yeah, I don't know. I am nowhere near as hateful to it as you're. Obviously, it ends with Maggie, who was presumed dead, showing up and shooting him in the back and killing him, and she's the sole survivor of the night. Which, yeah, whatevs.
Of course, she wraps him up and drags him off, and you get the little like, whoa, now she has a cool costume or whatever. I don't know.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I don't. I don't hate it. Like I was mildly amused for sections of it. So if I was going to rate it, I'd be like, yeah, 5, maybe 5.5, kind of in that range.
wait. So are we not rating it?
Oh, we can rate it. Yeah, you can rate it.
Okay. Oh, I guess we usually don't rate like the TV
But,
shows.
but these are kind of like
Okay.
standalone. I mean, so are
Yeah.
Tales from the Crypt episodes, but these are basically movies. So yeah, rate
Fair.
it. Go on. Out of 10.
I think I would give it a 3. Honestly, like
Okay.
like it really like did absolutely nothing for me. Like other than maybe I did kind of like the idea of the premise, but again, like maybe like a short it would have worked better, or even like yeah, just like a half-hour episode of a TV show or something like and if you maybe go like a little crazier with it, make it more focused and more about like the exasperated hitman, and instead of just yeah kind of veering off in this other direction that I didn't like. But I don't know, like sure it's not the worst thing in the world, like it's not uh super offensive, like whatever, watch it if you want, but just for me, just honestly it did nothing.
All right. Well, I'll just tease what the next episode is. The next episode is called Flesh and Blood. There's no description for it, at least on IMDb. There might be an official press release somewhere elsewhere, but it's called Flesh and Blood, and it's going to be directed by Patrick Lussier. Do you recognise that name?
Not at all.
He directed the My Bloody Valentine remake and Drive Angry.
Oh well.
Also, the sequel to White Noise. I never saw the sequel.
You haven't? Oh my gosh.
I saw the first one, which is weird because the second one has Nathan Fillion in it, and I like Nathan Fillion, but
Gotta inspect that noise.
He also did Dracula 2001, and then the sequels to that, Dracula 2 Ascension, and Dracula 3 Legacy. Those last two were direct to video, though.
Oh, so this guy's pretty good. You know what I think?
What? Explain that comment to me.
I stand by my. And I think I've said this before, but there's never been a bad movie, book, video game, or anything with Dracula in it. So, I'll stand by those Dracula 2000 movies.
No.
Now, one thing I do think, actually, maybe one of the reasons why I was so angry with this is because, like, all right, you have a monthly horror anthology show, each based presumably at, based around like the holiday for that month or whatever. I think that's a great idea for a show, and you're starting on Halloween, like you got to bring your A game. Like, it Halloween horror, like you got to kick things off right. If it's going to be the first one, if it's going to be in October, like, I feel like you really got to wow me. And, this was just such a, bad start. It's like ordering, if you ordered a, meat lovers pizza, and then it shows up and, they forgot like the meat and the cheese and the sauce, and, you're just left with like this pizza dough. You're like, I don't know what to do with this.
I wasn't going to look ahead, but I'm curious because there's 7 on IMDb so far. So just to give you a taster for the rest of the season, Timmy, episode 3 is directed by Nacho Vigalondo, who directed Colossal with Anne Hathaway like 2 years ago, and then before that did a French movie called Time Crimes. And
I do love Time Crimes.
Both of those are good movies. Both of those are solid, actually.
And Time Crimes is really good. Colossal, I wasn't as in love with, but it was decent enough.
I would agree.
I enjoyed it.
I'd agree it's the lesser of the two, but I enjoyed both of them.
Yeah,
quite
right,
a
so
bit.
I'm excited for. So that's December.
That's December's. That's called
Okay.
Puka.
Okay.
Episode 4. We have no director for this one listed. It's called New Year, New You.
Interesting. Okay.
Episode 5 is called Down. Oh, we do have a director for this one. Daniel Stamm. I do not recognize that name. Let's go click on him. He did The Last Exorcism, which was actually good until the ending completely ruined the whole thing.
That was the found footage one where like the priest was like.
Yeah, it was a fraud.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's done some episodes of various TV shows since. Why does that excite you?
I had TV, good gigs if you can get it.
Episode 6 is called Treehouse.
Ooh, I like that.
That's directed by James Rhodey, who has been an actor in a bunch of stuff apparently. And he's directed most of the TV episodes. He did 2 episodes of Blood Drive. He did episodes of Psych and.
I believe he filled in for Iron Man briefly.
He filled in for Iron Man?
Yeah.
What, the movie? Like, he directed parts of the movie Iron Man?
Oh,
no, James Rhodey. Oh, shut up. Shut up. That was a bad joke. That was a terrible joke. That was a terrible joke. And the last one they've got on here on IMDb, it doesn't have a title or anyone in it yet. It's just 1.7. So clearly they've put out the info for the first 6. And then IMDb just gets 7 there as a placeholder for the start of the next batch. Okay. All right. So hopefully
David Fincher.
Hopefully we're more hopeful for future things. For future episodes. Hopefully more positive. That's what I was trying to say. I don't know. It's been a long day, guys, right? But that's been the body. That's been episode 1 of Into the Dark. So yeah. That's good. That's us. Yeah, so as mentioned, we will be doing Leprechaun movies, despite the fact that it lost the vote for the franchise starter in October, because there's a new Leprechaun movie coming out in March, and we have to do them all before it comes out, and I'm really upset by this.
You know who's directing it though, right?
Who?
Isn't it the guy that did The Void?
Is it?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, all right. I could be tempted.
I could be wrong, but I thought like I remembered hearing that and was like, oh wow, like I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Leprechaun, but I was like, okay, that seems a little weird, but
It's the first in sci-fi, as in the Sci-Fi Channel's new wave of movies, because they announced this week they're working to get the rights to two things you'll be interested in, Timmy, to do reboots slash revival slash depending what they're doing with them. But
okay.
one is Killer Clowns from Outer Space,
Oh, okay, that's cool.
and the other is
They wanted to
Critters.
do Oh, okay, so they're going after Chodo Brothers stuff.
And hey, I mean the Critters Blu-ray is about to come out, or it has just come out. Um, any
November, I
excuse, any excuse for us to do all four of them, and the new one's coming out, I'll happily take. So, because I like Critters.
I feel like they've been wanting to do Killer Clowns for a long time.
Yeah, probably
Like
true.
I think they've been trying to get a sequel going for a while.
Yeah, and there's already a Friday the 13th revival in the works because Halloween made a lot of money.
Yeah, I saw those headlines. I didn't actually read it, but didn't it say like LeBron James is gonna produce.
Yeah, he's got a production company. He's produced a few things now.
I had no
This is just a
idea.
normal thing now. LeBron James produces
All
movies.
right.
I know it's
I mean,
weird.
like, I mean, that's fine. Like, I don't know anything about him, so maybe he's like good at it. But it was just like a weird like headline. Like, oh,
I
all
think
right.
he's made a lot of money from the sports, and he's funneling some of that.
From the sports.
Yes, from the basketball, and he's funneling some of that into what he loves as well, which is also movies. So
Oh, that's cool.
I think that's what he's doing, but that's just a guess. Uh, but yeah. So no, I just thought I'd fill you in some of the big horror news. They're remaking Wrong Turn as well.
Uh, yeah, that's one of those movies where I don't think you realize it, but it has like a lot more sequels
Has
than
five
like
sequels. There's six Wrong Turn
that.
movies.
That is insane.
It is insane. Hey, I'll blow your mind. There's a fourth Scorpion King that came out this last year.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, so does that mean like after the first Scorpion King there was three more, or does it like do you count the previous Mummy movies as being
No,
like
there's been four Scorpion King movies in total.
Jesus? Where are they hiding these things?
What's weird though is they've rebooted the Mummies before that, and then Scorpion King 4 came out. So is Scorpion King 4 part of the original continuity with the previous Scorpion Kings, which tied into Mummy Returns? What's going on in the world?
No idea.
I'm never going to watch it to find out. I mean, we're going to have to watch all the Wrong Turn movies at some point, but we never have to watch Scorpion King 1 through 4, and I'm glad for that fact because I don't
Okay.
want to.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I don't want
Wrong
to.
Turns, I would actually be interested in revisiting because it seems like there's this like early 2000s kind of like horror void. I want to say where like I've seen a lot of these movies, but not like
Yeah,
you know
I saw
remember
the
anything about them.
I saw the first one. I never saw the sequel, so it would be interesting to work through them just to see what they're like. Probably bad, but I think I did hear some buzz online that the second one's actually interesting.
I might have seen the second one, but because I want to say I would have been working at Blockbuster at the time, and
Yeah,
it seems like something I would have rented when it came out. But again, yeah, I definitely couldn't tell you anything
yeah.
about it.
But no, I never saw the sequels. But hey, something to work through later. But yeah, so we've got a lot of franchises to work through. We
Oh boy.
started Hellraiser. We have to do Leprechaun, and then we've still got Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street to finish. So and Howling's got a couple more left as well. So
Oh Jesus.
expect more of those over the coming months, as well as some catch up in 2018 movies that we missed at the theater and we're doing home release
Oh boy.
reviews of. I
Hopefully
know.
some good. We'll see.
Hopefully some will
Some
be good. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to some.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to one or two, but then there's like five or six that I'm not looking forward to. And then that kind of goes for the sequels that we've got left now as well. Like I feel like there's one or two that I know I like, so I'm kind of looking forward to watching those. But I ain't looking forward to Hellraiser 6.
Those I'm oddly interested in, but yeah, I mean, get back to me. When we're
Yeah.
on number 7, I might have a different opinion at that point.
Yeah. Anyway, so we've tangented a bit, but yeah. So Into the Dark, we'll review it closer to when it airs next month. May not be right away, but it'll be sometime maybe in the week following, and obviously we'll be having Screams episodes every week. Octoberthon's still going on as well. We're doing lots of extra episodes for October, lots of extra movie reviews on the regular Screams After Midnight, and you can check out all of those. We did the Rob Zombie Halloween movies, the new Halloween movie. and we did The Pit, which we mentioned earlier, which is a very special film. You should definitely check out our discussion of The Pit, and a bunch of other stuff. So look forward to that. We'll get a few more, of course, left before the end of the month. We did promise a countdown for October, which won't actually be in October. We're going to do that in the first week of November, because we can't quite fit it in. So you can kind of get that then instead of a movie, and then back to normal the following week. So but that's the plan. So thank you very much. If you want to support everything we do and whatnot, head over to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. And you can support us over there for as little as $1 per month and get some bonuses here or there and some extras and whatnot. Otherwise, you can like, subscribe, comment, let us know what you thought of the episode, and get us on Twitter at Screams Midnight for your horror movie needs and discussions and whatnot. I'm at Wibble89 on Twitter. Tim is at Tim Vergulish, but that is us. So thank you once again for watching and listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching scary TV. I feel like I need a catchphrase for the end of these shows now, Tim. I've got one for the TV stuff, but I don't have one for the streams.
You do like welcome to wait.
Welcome to
Wait, just
Primetime,
for
bitch?
Screams TV?
Well, no,
Or-
just Screams in general. I mean, there could be a
Okay.
separate one for this, but
Yeah, I was gonna say Screams TV. You can say welcome to Primetime, bitch, but maybe
Sure,
that should be the
okay.
intro.
yeah, it says look at intro. Yes, yes. But since you brought it up, I'll just do it anyway. Welcome to Primetime, bitch.